Each year, the International Council of Air Shows presents the Art Scholl Memorial Showmanship Award to the air show act or performer which best exemplifies the qualities of showmanship demonstrated by Art Scholl. A longtime and active ICAS member, he was a renowned aerobatic pilot and consummate of air show performer. His exciting and entertaining performances were a reflection of the best in our industry. His unique blend of pilot skills and showmanship always left his audiences wanting more. Since his passing, the list of past recipients of the award bearing his name has become the virtual who's who of the finest air show performers in North America. It is arguably the most exclusive club in the air show industry, with names that include Hoover, Franklin, Laudenslager, Tucker, the French Connection, Clisham, Goulian, Susi, and Aeroshell. And tonight, the list becomes even more special. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing the 2022 recipient of the Art Scholl Showmanship Award, Kirby Chambliss.
Well, first of all, I want to start out, thank you very much. I'm honored and humbled to receive this award. Mike Goulian said he was going to stand up here, just a second, and hold my hand. So Mike, come on over here, and hold my hand while I do this. And I did have to run off and use the bathroom real quick. I do want to apologize for not being able to wash them right before that. Anyway, I am definitely honored and humbled to receive this award. Yeah, John, you're right. I'm going to use the politician thing. I always tell everybody I'm not a politician. I can't stand up here and talk about myself for 20 minutes. But anyway, I'm going to give you a little bit of brief background about, my life. And I'm so bad at this, I got to read this anyway. But the first thing is, I've come from a very humble beginning. Basically, my parents were divorced when I was 5 years old. I was raised by my grandmother, and I even spent a few days in foster care. So we'll get on with that. But the two things that I always thank God for is basically one is that, I always knew what I wanted to be. I mean, it makes it so much easier to go someplace if you know where you're going. And for me, I always knew where I was going. I knew I wanted to be a pilot. There's pictures of me when I was, 3 or 4 years old, dragging airplanes around. And I knew I wanted to be a pilot. Two is that, I was born in the United States of America, where I feel like if you're willing to work hard and sacrifice, you can be anybody you want to be. I still believe that way. When I was very young, my dad, I told him, I said, I want to be a pilot. And he said, forget about it. And he wasn't, people were like, God, your dad was an asshole. Well, maybe so, but he wasn't being an asshole at that time. He just was a machinist. He didn't have a lot of money, and he just didn't see a way that was going to happen. For me, I was super determined. I mean, that's really what I wanted to do, and I wasn't just going to take no for an answer. So, the first thing I did, I was 13 years old, and I went to a seafood restaurant, washing dishes. That was my first job. My second job was I wanted to be around airplanes. It was an FBO, and I was fueling airplanes. I had several jobs, at FBOs, fueling airplanes, and fortunately for me, one of them was fueling Southwest Airlines, and I was like, man, those guys running around in those little orange jumpsuits loading the bags on the airplane, they make a lot more money than I'm. How do I do that? So I got that job and, started loading airplanes. And again, I wanted to fly for a living, but I didn't know how to go about it. So, part of that job was when you're pushing these airplanes back, somebody's got to talk to that captain up there on the headset, and, he's starting the engines, he's going to taxi out to the runway. And I was like, I always tried to make that be me. So I could say, hey, well, Captain, how does this work? And how does that work? And, so basically that's how I figured out how to do it, And literally, they would tell me, you do this, you do that, you get your ratings. So I went on along and, I got all my ratings, and, I would work for Southwest at night on the ramp, and then, I was a flight instructor during the day. I got really, really lucky. I got built my time up, and when I was 21, I started flying a corporate jet, and that's how I got introduced to aerobatics. So a chief pilot, smart guy, he's like, if that jet ever ends up upside down with a CEO on board, we want you to be able to turn it right side up without killing everyone. I'm 21 years old. I'm like, makes sense to me. So went out in an aerobatic airplane, turned it upside down. It was actually with Dwayne Cole. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever, I couldn't have cared anything else about, anything but flying. Okay, well, maybe girls too. But other than that, that was my my focus is basically, we didn't have anything to do with that. I wasn't interested with it at all. And, it changed my life. That led me to, flying air shows and competition aerobatic, which led me to the Red Bull Air Race and, being able to be on the U.S. aerobatic team. I was on the team from 97 until 2005. I got to fly with Goulian a little bit there too. And it's, a special thing to be able to represent your country in an international competition. It was so dear to me, and it was so, it was the coolest thing ever. That took me to the, Red Bull Air Race. And which now I'm flying things all over the world, and it was just such a great experience. But anyway, I've gotten way far ahead of my notes here, so hang on. So. Okay, I'm going to get to you guys without the ties and all the formal wear over there in just a minute. Be quiet. All right. Yeah. Anyway, so. The next thing I would like to do is, I'd like to basically, we did this, but yeah, let me know. Okay, all right. I'd like to thank my wife, Kelly, of almost 30 years. If I forget that, I'm going to be in deep shit. I can tell you that for sure. So, Kelly, and nobody hates us worse than I do. So, look, Kelly, please stand up. Yeah. Kelly's always supported me, and let me follow my dreams and share my passion with so many. And as you guys, we've just seen this. As you know, being an air show pilot, it's not always the easiest on our families. We're gone a lot, and as we've just seen here, it's a dangerous business, and that weighs heavily on our families, and I want to thank her. I put her through a lot over the years, as she said she could write a book, but, she's always stood beside me and, let me do what I wanted to do. I also want to thank my smart, talented, and yes, beautiful daughter, Kirby Chambliss. Carly, please stand up. You can see her because she's about 5'10", so she stands up there pretty tall. And now, I'd also like to ask the incredibly talented and creative Red Bull Air Force, guys that I get to fly with, my family, for you guys to please stand up. I know. And I do want everybody to know that they're not wearing ties, and that's why I'm not wearing either. I, wanted to go with my buddies, and, you can see they're pretty casual, but anyway, so thank you. Thank you, guys. I mean, it's been an incredible experience to me to be able to perform with these guys. And honestly, I mean, they are what makes my act unique and makes it so spectacular to be able to fly with them. I mean, most of them are former world champions in their own discipline, and they're amazing, and they're just, great guys to be able to travel the world with, and I really do appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to Red Bull, and that cliche, Red Bull gives me wings. Well, they truly do, and I appreciate it. It's been over 20 years, and Mark Nietzsche's over there. He's a representative for Red Bull. Mark, please stand up. Hey, Mark, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Let me skip back down my notes. I keep getting kind of ahead of myself here. Sorry. Yes, this, yeah, that one's out of there, and anyway, yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, for you guys, and at this time, I'd really like to thank all the volunteers that spend the year-long planning for that special weekend. And, that special weekend is super special to us because that's our weekend, that we get to go out and share with people our love of flight, and also to inspire people, the next aviators and the next air show pilots. I want to thank you guys for that. You guys go out there and you're all year long, you're volunteering your time in order to put these shows on, and I know all the performers here, we all appreciate that, because without you guys, we wouldn't have it. So that, I will accept this reward on behalf of all of us. I really do appreciate it. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you very much.